Carl and Lou here from Games, Brains and a Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for short, and it's Nasties time as we are going to talk about, I think, potentially a contender. We won't know until the end. A contender for the worst one we've ever seen.
Yep.
There is nothing good about this film. Its plot is terrible. No, I'm going to correct myself straight away. There is something good about this film, but I'll explain what that is when I get to the end. Right, so the story's nonsense. The killer is terrible. The visuals are horrendous in the gore department, makeup and stuff like that. The acting is teeth-achingly bad. It is nonsensical at times. It is so fucking boring at times. But it's got some very nice cinematography. At times it is some lovely, lovely shots of a mountainous forest and stuff like that. There's the positive thing I can say. Don't go in the woods. Also known as Don't Go in the Woods Alone. 1981 American slasher film directed by James Bryan and written by Gareth Ellison. Before we go on, at any point in this movie did you think, yeah, that's why that was a nasty, this is a nasty?
No.
Say, this is a real struggle to really understand why. And so much so, you'll get it in a minute, as you see what happened to this movie. It stars Jack McLaren as Peter, Mary Gale Art as Ingrid, James P. Hayden as Craig, Andrew Brown as Joni, Ken Carter as the Sheriff, David Barth as Deputy Benson, and Tom Jury as Maniac.
Real name.
Maniac. It's got a huge cast. Forgettable.
Yeah.
Can't remember anyone. The only time you really stop paying attention to names is when people keep saying them over and over again. Ingrid is the one that stands out the most for me. Oh yeah, okay, there we go. Insanely, this movie was prosecuted. How? Why? What? And aside from early rare video releases, it was not available for rent or sale since then until 2007 in the UK, when it was released. Are you ready? Uncut on DVD with a 15 certificate. Didn't even come in cut. And then 18, uncut, 15. So modern times, not even modern 2007.
Yeah.
Looked at it and went, what the fuck's this? 15. Yeah. And that makes sense because what was coming out around this period? Hostel.
Yeah.
Hostel. I'm sure that was 2006 or 2007. So of course, like this very tame slasher movie, and even the 15, I'd go at times to say 12. 12. I mean, there's a little bit of blood here and there, but like it's blood of the Avengers.
Yeah.
There is
that. Maybe it's just like the whole.
Boring. It's because it's so boring. They never made it to the end. They just gave up. So this movie's a mess. We aren't going to make this a long one because even talking it through is boring. Yeah. Because it's simply put, people in the woods die. People in the woods randomly cut to someone new. Randomly cut to something that's supposed to, because of the music, it's almost like we're supposed to laugh. Yeah. But it's downright offensive in regards to how it's portrayed. It's just this over and over again. And like, and then here's a maniac. And he's dressed like from a Mad Max film. Yeah. Oh, right. So, a frightened woman named Alma is running down a small stream when an unseen assailant murders her. Then we see a bird watcher have his arm hacked off, and he's murdered off screen. And straight away you're like,
can I see that?
Oh, okay. All right. Well, people are dying in the woods. Then we're introduced to four friends. Peter, Joanne, Ingrid, Joni. I keep saying Joanne. Joni, Ingrid, and Craig. They're trekking through the nearby wilderness. Get used to listening to their banter because it's there. And it is one of those where you're like, this was never scripted. You told them just to bants. Yeah. And they can't do it. No. They don't sound like human beings. They don't sound like they know each other. It's just nonsense.
Like you can actors and like improv comedians could probably get away with it because that's their bread and butter. So they know how to kind of go, right, we're in the woods, let's start talking about getting over these rocks. Go from there. But these guys just don't know what to talk about, and it's so stilted, and like the clothes they're wearing, just like there's no costume budget. They just stumbled in wearing his stuff. Oh, no.
They don't look prepared for camping, hiking, trekking, none of that. And we continue to jump back from these guys to other people killed as we see another tourist thrown over a waterfall and his mother is wounded and dragged away. Of course, we don't see the killer yet because we're going to, it's like we have to have some big fucking reveal. But this is not like, this is not a good reveal. No. Four backpackers set up camp for the night, but elsewhere, because, we jump back and they're setting up camp and they're still talking to each other, and you're still like... can we please?
Don't check the running time.
We then get a pair of honeymooners named Dick and Cherry. They're in a camper van. They're attacked. Dick is murdered off screen. And you're already like, what's happening? Why does everyone keep getting killed off screen?
Yeah.
What is happening? Because he exits the van to investigate a noise, but it's one of those idiot moments where he doesn't just go, he hears a noise in the fucking woods.
Yeah.
And he's like, I better go look. And I'm like, oh my God, unless that noise was someone screaming or a human voice.
There's going to be noises.
It's on a mountain. What are you, every twig's breaking?
Yep.
Animals. Come on. Cherry, paranoid, arms herself with a small bus, but Dick's body is thrown against one of the windows and you get some blood splash up against there. It's fake as shit. It's that proper, really bright red stuff that looks kind of like paint.
Yeah, like poster paint.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, watery poster paint. Yeah. The killer then rocks the van back and forth and sends it tumbling down a small hill where it catches on fire with Cherry still inside. So we lost Cherry.
Oh yeah, the Maniac's got quite a lot of strength.
Yeah, that was impressive, particularly when you see him, you're like, who, him?
It's a full caravan.
Him?
Yeah.
Yeah, with someone inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You could argue that it's on a little bit of a hill, but then I'd say, who the fuck parks their van in a mountain on a hill? You get flat ground, man.
Yeah.
You trust a handbrake?
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'd feel as comfortable, you know? I'd want it to be flat. The next day, the two couples continue their hike. Then we go somewhere else.
Yeah, there's no...
We go somewhere else for what was probably the most dumbest and most memorable scene in the movie. As we see a woman artist, she's painting a scenic view. But she's brought her child, her very young baby, up into the woods, right? Fine. Okay. But she's now painting, but her child is for some reason a massive distance away.
Yeah.
In some sort of harness.
Yeah.
Like, not next to her. We're talking about, like, out of sight.
Yeah.
Out of sight. We were like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why would you... Who does that?
Yeah.
Like,
Forget about like...
maniacs. Animals.
Yeah. Yeah, and stuff she might put in her mouth from the woods and whatever. Yeah, it was stupid.
It was absolutely stupid, but she gets killed anyway, stabbed to death, and the young child is taken away.
Yeah.
That child will come back at the end in what is a continually head-scratching moment of this movie. Two more campers are butchered. One has his throat slit, and the other has a sleeping bag hung up from a tree, and the killer stabs her to death with a spear. Yes, it is this fucking random.
Yeah.
Off on his own, Peter then witnesses a fisherman murdered with a bear trap to the head, which was quite funny.
Yeah.
Because it looked so fake, and it was just like, ha! At least that's some imagination. You know, I don't know how you do that.
No.
Swing. You know, it looks like a comedy sort of
Yeah.
thing. We then finally see the killer, who turns out to be a spear-wielding wild man adorned in furs and rags. Do you want to add anything about how stupid this guy looks?
No, just a no budget, just a low budget. Ugh. You better have having him like half naked and just like covered in scars and scratches if you're trying to go for a maniac look. But it was just...
He's a wild man. He looks like a wild man. And that's the thing. But he doesn't look that threatening. He's quite small.
Yeah.
He's not particularly built. He's covered in these rags. And a lot of the time I'm thinking, all right, he's got weapons, but like, you can get the better of this dude. There's several of you. Young men. This guy looks like he's in his near 50.
Yeah, stick in the dump kind of.
Yeah, Stigger. Exactly that. Peter rushes off to warn his friends, but the maniac gets to him first. He slices his arm off. Slices Craig's arm off, actually, should I say, because Peter's trying to get to them. Craig screams, which attracts Ingrid to come running to investigate. Joni flees into the woods by herself. Ingrid finds the aftermath of the campsite of Craig and Joni and then runs away. So everybody's running away in different directions now. Peter finds Ingrid at another person's wrecked camp. The two then come across the wild man's cabin and go inside. And in there they find several sleeping bags hanging from the ceiling and junk littered across the floor. Yeah. Really fucking boring.
Yeah.
Really boring. Peter accidentally triggers a trap, which reveals the body of Craig, which is wrapped in plastic sheet. I didn't get this. Why did he set something up in his home to reveal a body? Wouldn't you have set up a trap in your home to kill an intruder?
That's just another stupid point, wasn't it?
It's just another stupid point. The two run away from the cabin, where we then see a hiker elsewhere finds a stick covered in small metal objects and takes it. This scene purely exists to cause some confusion later on. So this is one of the wild man's sticks, and on it it's got some bells. Now, for some reason, for being a wild man who likes to sneak up on people, he now has this weapon which has bells in it that shake. So you can kind of hear them coming.
Yeah.
Later on, this is used so one character can accidentally be killed because they hear this sound of him coming.
Yeah.
But earlier in the movie, that's not used at all. I don't get it.
No.
It's purely so you have this moment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And we get to that as Peter and Ingrid hear the jingling of the stick, and Peter ends up killing this poor person, mistaking him for the Wild Man. The killer then tosses a sharpened stick into the hiker, killing him. He wounds Ingrid with 2 of the spears. There's lots of this. Before he can finish her off, though, Peter grabs her hand and they run away. They walk several miles before finding a chairlift and seeing a small town, which they enter. Oh, cool. Movie's over, right? Yeah. Very, very guilty over leaving Joni behind. Peter escapes the hospital. He and Ingrid are brought to it, and he returns to the woods.
Doesn't tell the police to go.
It's just, you're like, what the fuck? They're reporting to the police. He's in a hospital, but for some reason he feels like he has to sneak out, like he's being held hostage, but doesn't tell the police, doesn't say anything. I know they just said don't go up, but like he doesn't like, let's let everyone go up and search for him, which everyone, at the end of this movie, there is a search party going up to find him and Joni instead. Fucking going on. Yeah. He doesn't take any supplies of him. No. He's wearing this weird torn shirt that in one scene it's torn, in the next scene it's not. Yep. You know, so many continuity errors as well. Meanwhile, Joni finds a campsite containing a dead body and flees in terror. But she finds the Wild Man's cabin. Joni then encounters the Wild Man, who attacks her and attempts to escape through an open window, but is killed with a machete. So Peter's on his way for hiding for nothing. She's now been killed. Our posse. We rounded up our posse, which includes Ingrid, which I thought was incredibly strange because she's not asking to go back. No. They're like, yeah, come back with us, and she's just going. And you're like, should she?
Yeah, like, should not be just recovering?
Yeah, because it's not like she can point out where things were.
No.
You know? But the posse is formed by the police to hunt the maniac and obviously look for Peter and Joni. The sheriff ends up finding a cabin where he finds Joni's body, and Peter ends up finding out when they meet up with him, who's obviously massively distraught, feels guilty, like he was to blame. By nightfall, because we've now got to night, the Wild Man has claimed another victim. And this is the wheelchair user, which... So, I don't get this at all, and I really don't get it, what on earth they're going for. So we cut to this man who's in a wheelchair, attempting on his own to go up a hill in this mountain. And straight away, you're straight away like, well, what the hell is that? That's stupid. Come on, man. Yeah. But it's the music they play. For some reason, the music becomes like this down, 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 like slapstick. Like we're supposed to be like, oh my god, he's so fucking stupid. Yeah. Look at this idiot. And you're like, the fuck?
Yeah, ridiculous.
It's ridiculous because a lot of it's like, oh, is he gonna roll backwards? Is he gonna? You're like, oh wow. But he ends up getting decapitated anyway. Ingrid ends up stealing a machete and goes off to look for Peter, who she finds by morning, along with the savage who they stab to death in a frenzy. So we get this really violent end where, in a frenzy, they just keep stabbing him over and over again. And it's close up to the body where they're clearly just stabbing a block of wood. Because you can almost hear the noises that hit, donk, donk, donk. Maybe that's the nasty part, because it's visceral and up close and it's continued.
I feel like that'd be part of it.
Yeah, and they only stop when the search party arrives. As everyone clears out the forest, we then cut to the baby. Remember the baby that was taken from the artist? It's shown alone sitting in the wilderness and playing with a hatchet. And you're like, wait, what? I mean, is that supposed to be like some sort of like, the
child's going to be like...
a killer now. Yeah. That baby's dead.
Yeah.
In a couple of days. If it's not eaten by an animal,
it's dead.
It's not going to find water.
No.
The baby's dead.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm sorry, I'm not buying into that.
No.
Or it's going to cut its own fucking foot off and bleed to death. Yeah, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, that's so stupid.
Ridiculous film.
The movie is just, honestly, horrendous. We've kind of flown through it and glossed over so much because there really is very little beyond. Here's some people in the woods. They're killed. Sometimes off screen, sometimes you get a little bit of stabbing and stuff like that, but there's nothing outrageous. There's nothing impressive about this.
There's no sex in it?
No sex, that's probably a major reason why it's a 15.
Yeah, there's a bit of fumbling between the honeymooners.
Yeah, there's a little bit like tops and stuff like that where you can kind of like, well, there's some side boob, you know?
Yeah, but I'm glad because they're not exactly the prettiest couple to watch doing that. But yeah, it's not even entertaining. It's not even like it's like say so bad it's good or... No. In the scheme of a nasty, it's so over the top and outrageous that it's quite entertaining. Yeah. It's bland.
Yeah. I just couldn't... I was stunned by that this one was a notorious nasty. Because it is. It's a nasty. It's notorious. Yeah. And I'm like... What? This is... the whys of all that. And like I said, it's not the first to be downgraded to like a lower rating. It isn't. But at least those movies when we saw what we've seen so far, we were entertained or we enjoyed to a certain degree and all this. Beyond like, oh, this is lovely, lovely mountaintops and all that, and even that is overused at the end. By the end, you're like, I'm sick and tired of this fucking location. I really am.
I don't want to look at my the running time again.
Yeah. When we do that as well, it's like, should we check how much is left? And you have that whole, oh god, there's 25 minutes left. Oh, and you're kind of hoping that you're going to get something to go, oh wow, I didn't expect to see that. It wouldn't have improved the overall quality, because from a movie beginning to end, it's shit. Yeah. Story-wise, it's simply young adults go in the woods, get killed. Yeah. Other people get killed. That's it. We've seen it 1,000 times before. We'll see it 1,000 times again in the future. But it does this in the most bland, boring, low-budget, poorly acted. Yeah, this is
it's a rough one.
When it comes to the eventual tier ranking that we do at the end of the Nasty run, this is going to be in the bottom. Yeah. It's up there as one of the worst. Yeah. Absolutely. Do you like it though? You got any thoughts? Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?